Hello. In this next set of videos, we'll be talking about how we do the arm controls. Controllers are used as a way to manipulate the deformer bones and directly control the character. This part of the rig has very technical collections of constraints, switches, inverse kinematics to allow the animator to have fine control over the character. We'll have a mix of controllers that allow us to indirectly control the deformer joints. We'll also use a duplicate joint chains, so we'll duplicate the arm joints into an FK joint chain and an IK joint chain. We'll do that for the arms and the legs. And what this allows is the ability to have the deformer joints position and rotation blend between these two duplicate joint chains. So if we want to use FK, we can blend to the FK joint chain, and if we want to use IK or switch back and forth, we can blend in between. So the FK, or forward kinematics joint chain and controllers, allows us for basically the standard rotation on a parent-child hierarchy. So this default behavior is the way that the joints work, where there's a parent joint, and then any child joints that are basically in a branch below that, they're moved whenever the parent moves. So the parent moves, the child moves. So in the IK algorithm, it's a constraint that allows the inverse. So it's called inverse kinematics. And the joint chain and controllers allow for manipulation of handles on the children, and then these handles that are constrained to the children move the child joint, and then the parents will follow along. So you can move sort of the children and have the parent follow along up to a certain degree up the chain as far as you decide. So with the arm, we'll be grabbing a controller, creating and grabbing a controller on the hand that'll allow you to pull the hand around, and the rest of the arm will follow up to the shoulder, versus grabbing the shoulder joint and rotating it, then grabbing the elbow joint and rotating it, and then the hand joint and rotating. We can just grab something that's connected to the hand and move all the way up to the shoulder. So it gives us two ways of manipulating characters. It's really good for the feet because the feet often are touching the ground, and you want to maybe move the hips up and down without the feet going through the ground, since the hips are the parent of the entire hierarchy of deformer joints. If you move those hips without IK constraints on the feet, then the feet will just move through the ground, move wherever the hips go. But if you have those IK constraints on the feet, then you can move the hips up and down and the legs will bend. Same thing with hands, like doing push-ups is kind of an example of how this sort of IK solution, inverse kinematics, would work for you. It's kind of like you can pin those, when you use IK, you're sort of pinning that joint somewhere, and you can move the rest of the body and that will stay, or you can move that child or connected child and the parents will move with it. So when setting up some of these controls, it will be possible to use some of the standard parenting. As we're adding these controls in, we can kind of put them in inside with the rest of the hierarchy of the deformer joints. But this isn't desired because we want to keep the deformer joint hierarchy very clean without any extra children or other things in there. We'll have some constraints in there that will be part of that, but we don't want any objects under any of the parents of the deformer joints. We want to keep the deformer joint hierarchy clean, so that's going to require us to learn how to do a bunch of different constraints that will help us have objects constrained to other objects, and then there's just a relationship between them that will make things move as we want them to, versus putting them in the hierarchy to force them to be parents or move things around. So keep your deformer joints clean. You don't want to add a lot of objects into that hierarchy, because when we get to the end, when we want to export our animation, we want to be able to just export the movement, the keyframes on the deformer joints. Any of the controls that we're making, they're not going to translate into the game engine. So all the controls we're making are so we can manipulate those deformer joints and manipulate the character within Maya or whatever 3D application you have. And then what you'll be able to do is use those controllers just in the 3D package, and then when you export, it just exports the movement that's sort of been baked onto those deformer joints. And then it's just the deformer joints that are actually doing their translation and rotation for the most part in the game engine. So none of the extra stuff comes along into the game engine, all of the rigging, besides the deformer joints themselves. Okay. Well, it also helps make things more reliable in how it works if we keep that deformer hierarchy clean. So let's get into learning about how to set up the ARM, FK, and IK controls and joint chains.